So let's begin at the top of the mat. Come into your mountain pose with your feet either fist width apart, like 2 inches apart, or if it feels okay, you can bring the big toes together to touch. Whatever makes you feel more stable. Okay, now lift your toes, spread them apart, and grip them down into the mat. So you're pushing into all 4 corners of the mat. Now from here, make sure that you're not locking the knees back. Have a gentle squeeze in the quads. Okay, and then bring your pelvis into neutral, meaning your booty's not popping out and your tailbone's not tucking under. So you want the front hip bones level to the back hip bones. So you're just lengthening your tailbone down and drawing your lower belly gently in and up. And then lift your entire rib cage up, relax your shoulders away from your ears, and bring your arms by your sides. Have your chin parallel to the ground. Now look out in front of you and find a gazing point and start to breathe here. You might want to start by taking a couple cleansing breaths in through the nose and then out through the mouth, just letting go of anything that you brought into your practice today. So as you inhale, just draw the lower belly gently in and up and expand in every direction. And then as you exhale, visualize letting go of anything that you brought in to your practice today. Okay, inhale, expand. And exhale, release. Let it go. Good. And then start to breathe in through the nose, expanding the rib cage, and then out through the nose. And I want you to take a moment to think about what you need from your practice today. How would you love to feel after your practice today? Do you want to feel grounded? Do you want to feel excited, inspired, happy, content? How do you want to feel after your practice? Okay, so then that's what you're going to use to make your own affirmation. So as you inhale, think I am. And on your exhale, just put in your affirmation word. Repeat that throughout your practice, especially as your mind wanders. Bring it back to the present moment by focusing on the breath and that affirmation. Do that 2 more times here. Good. Now from here, exhale and push down into all 4 corners of the feet. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Grab your left wrist with your right hand, and then exhale, lean over to your right. Inhale, come up, switch wrists. Exhale, lean to the other side. This is called half moon A. Inhale, come up, reach both arms up. And then exhale, fold forward. You can bend the knees, let the arms and head hang. You don't need to touch the ground. Bring your hands to your shins. Inhale, come up halfway, monkey pose. Exhale, fold over the legs. Push into the feet, look out in front of you. Inhale, rise up, palms touch overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Okay, let's do that whole thing one more time. Inhale, reach up, grab your left wrist with your right hand. Exhale, lean over to your right. Inhale up, switch wrists. Exhale, other side. Good job. Inhale, come up, both arms up, and exhale, fold. You can bend your knees so that you can tip your pelvis forward. Let the arms hang, hands to the shins. Inhale, come halfway up to monkey pose. Now exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands, step back to a plank or top of a push-up. Okay, this might be a little bit challenging. Inhale, push forward, shoulders past the wrists, knees can come down. Exhale, lower down. Try to land with your belly and chest at the same time. Uncurl your toes. Inhale, chest forward and up, push into the knuckles, elbows bent. Exhale, lower down, curl the toes under. Now try to push up in a straight line. Inhale, push up to your modified plank. And then exhale, hips up and back into a downward facing dog. Okay, so from here, you really want to push into your knuckles. Keep your knuckles firmly into the mat. And you want to be in a straight line from the wrists all the way up to the hips. So that means you might need to bend the knees so that you can push into your knuckles and send your hips up and back, tilting the pelvis forward. So it might feel like you're pointing your tailbone more up towards the sky. Breathe here. Letting the heels sink down towards the ground. It's okay if they don't touch. Good. Now from here, bring your knees down to the ground and then bring your right foot in front of you, however you can. Okay, and then bring your hands down onto either side of the right foot. I like to walk the right foot over to the right a little bit, so it's kind of on the outside of my chest. Okay, hands on the ground, or if you have yoga blocks, of course, you can always place your hands on yoga blocks. What I want you to try to think about, instead of rounding the back here, think about drawing the chest forward and up so that your spine is more straight. Okay, so you're probably feeling a stretch here in the back leg. Try to keep your right knee directly on top of the right ankle. Now from here, have the back toes curled under and lift the back knee. Okay, again, if that's too much, you could always place your hands on blocks or just use your couch or a chair. So you can bring your hands on to a chair or a couch. Keep your right knee directly on top of the ankle. Draw the chest forward and up. Breathe here. Okay, so that the back heel is right on top of the ball of the foot. You might need to scooch the back foot back a little bit. From here, start to bring the hips back, but I want you to think about not rounding the back. So keep the upper body exactly how it was and bring the hips back, only straightening the leg as far as you can go without tucking the tailbone. Okay, so keep tipping the pelvis forward and drawing the chest forward. Push your right hip back in space. This is like a modified pyramid pose. It's totally fine if the front knee is not bent. Breathe here, especially if your hands are on the ground, because I don't want the back rounded. Let's bend the knee again, coming into the lunge. While you're here, right knee again is on top of the ankle and push your left heel back. Okay, start to bring the hips back. Keep your upper back exactly how it was. Don't let it round. So we're trying to get a full body stretch here today, hitting all of the major body parts, especially the parts that give people issues. Okay, so now bend the knee, bring the hands on either side of the right foot, and then make your way back to a downward facing dog. So either stay in down dog or come down to the hands and knees, bring the knees as wide as the mat, uncurl the toes, and sit your hips back into a modified child's pose. Forehead can come to the mat. Taking a couple breaths here in your down dog or child's pose. Good. And then come back up to the hands and knees, curl the toes under, lift the hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Beautiful. From here, come down to the hands and knees, bring your left foot forward, however you can get it there. Okay, so that now bring the hands on either side of the left foot. You might want to walk the left foot over to the side so it's on the outside of the chest. Again, you can stay here or move over to a chair, use blocks, whatever you need to. Curl the back toes under and lift the back knee. So here you want to scooch the right foot back again so that the heel's right on top of the toes. Left knee is directly above the ankle. Think about drawing the chest forward and up and breathe here. Bring in your affirmation. On your inhale, I am. And on your exhale, your affirmation word. Good. Now keep your spine exactly like that, but start to bring the hips back. Okay, so if your tailbone tucks under, you've gone too far. Keep drawing the chest forward and push your left hip back in space. Notice where you feel the stretch here. Make sure you're never going to where you feel pain. You should be able to breathe. You should be able to smile a little bit. If you can't do those things, you've gone too far. Okay, bend the knee again. And one more time, hips back. Draw the chest forward. Okay, bend the knee. You can bring your back knee down and make your way back to a downward facing dog. Stay there. Take a child's pose, or if you want to amp up the heat a little bit, let's do a vinyasa. So come forward to plank, bringing your shoulders past your wrists. You can bring the knees down, lower down in a straight line, elbows in. Uncurl the toes, push into the knuckles. Inhale, draw the chest forward and up, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, lower down, curl the toes under. Inhale, push up in a straight line. Try not to roll up. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Now come down to the hands and knees for a second and stand tall on the knees, and let's just practice our shoulder wrap. So bring your arms up. Okay, now I don't want you to move at the wrist. I want your wrist to stay stable, kind of like if you had a cast on right here. I want the movement to come from the shoulders. So first, think about opening up the armpits, like you're trying to show people on either side of you your armpits for some reason. And then round the shoulders away from each other like you're trying to close the armpits. Okay, so it's coming just from the shoulders, not the hands. Open them up again. Notice how that feels up here. Okay, up by your neck, and then roll them away from each other. Notice how that gives you more space. Okay, so that's what I want you to try to do in your downward facing dog. Roll your shoulders away from each other. Then what we'll do from the elbows is roll the forearms in so that the knuckles can stay heavy. Okay, so let's give it a try. Come back to your hands and knees. Spread your fingers apart as far as you can comfortably. Push those knuckles down into the mat. Lift your knees up and push your hips back. Okay, so from here, roll the upper arms away from each other like you're trying to close the armpits. Keep that, and then roll the forearms in, keeping the knuckles heavy. Breathe here, letting the heels sink down. They're not actively lifting. Draw the low ribs in slightly to engage the core. Feel free at any time to take cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good. Now from here, bend the knees. Inhale, look forward. At the end of the exhale, however you can bring your right foot in between your hands. So maybe you can bring your right foot about halfway, grab it, bring it through. Now flatten the back foot and windmill the arms open, bend into the right knee. Okay, so this is warrior two. Bring your hands to your hips for a moment. Keep your right knee directly on top of the ankle. Right heel in line with the arch of the back foot. Turn the back toes in slightly. Level pelvis. Lift the rib cage. Arms up. Relax the arms and have the arms parallel to the ground. Gaze out through the right middle finger and breathe here. Good. Now inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bring your right forearm to the right leg, left arm up and overhead. Remember how we wrap the shoulder in down dog? Do that here with the top shoulder so that the top palm faces down. Your right elbow's pushing into the right knee. Okay, make sure not to dump down. Really push so you have space in between the shoulder and the ear. You're in a straight line from the outside edge of the back foot all the way up to the top fingertips. It's a side angle pose. Good. Inhale, come back to your warrior two. And exhale, windmill your hands down on either side of the right foot. However you can get back to your down dog, do that. It might not be graceful yet, and that's okay. Hold here or take a child's pose. It might feel good to take a couple cleansing breaths. Come back to your affirmation. Good. Bend the knees. Inhale, look forward. At the end of the exhale, however you can bring the left foot through, get it in between the hands, flatten the back foot, windmill the arms open, and bend into the left knee. Okay, so here, again, bring your hands to your hips, have your left heel in line with the arch of the back foot. Turn the back toes in slightly, level out the pelvis. Keep the knee directly on top of the ankle. Don't let it turn in. Lift your rib cage up, arms up, relax the shoulders, and gaze out through your left middle finger. Breathe here. Come to your affirmation, deep breaths. Good. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, left forearm to the left leg, right arm up and overhead. Close the armpit. Make sure not to dump into the bottom shoulder. Push into the elbows so you have space in between the shoulder and the ear. You're in a straight line from the outside edge of the back foot all the way up to the fingertips. Breathe. Side angle stretch. Good. Inhale, come back to your warrior two. Exhale, windmill the hands down on either side of the left foot. However you can get it there, come back to your downward facing dog. Stay here, take a child's pose, or build more heat by doing a vinyasa with me. Inhale, come forward, shoulders past the wrists, knees can come down. Exhale, lower down, uncurl the toes. Inhale, chest forward and up, cobra pose. Exhale, come down, curl the toes under. Inhale, push up to the knees. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Deep breaths here. Come back to your affirmation. Roll the upper arms away from each other like you're closing the armpits. Forearms roll in. Slow down the breath. Okay, now bend the knees. Inhale, look forward. At the end of the exhale, bring your right knee to the outside of the right wrist and swing your foot over to the left side. This is pigeon. So I'm going to face you so you can see what my legs are doing. So bring your right knee to the outside of the right wrist and the foot swings over to the left. Please don't grab the foot and yank it up, okay? This is called pigeon pose. If you have knee issues, please lay onto your back, cross the leg over, and pull the knee in, okay? So that's a totally fine way to do it. Otherwise, we're gonna go into pigeon, okay? Now, what I want you to think about is not letting the hips come off to the side. So try to keep the hips square. You want your back leg pointing straight back. And so you should feel a stretch in this front leg, either in the glute, the hips, you might even feel it in the low back. Stay here or bring your forearms down to the mat. If you can place your forehead on something, that's going to be even more calming for the nervous system, as long as it's comfortable low. If you can't breathe, if you can't crack a smile, then you've probably gone too far. So just find what feels good for you. That's kind of the name of the game here. Slow down the breath, starting to let the exhales become longer and longer. Relax the face. Good. And then very slowly make your way out of it. Come to a downward facing dog and just walk it out a little bit from side to side. Shift your hips a little bit. Okay, then we're going to do the other side. So bend the knees. Inhale, look forward. At the end of the exhale, left knee to the outside of the right wrist. Foot swings over to the right. Don't grab it and yank it forward, please. You can always curl the back toes under and walk back if you need more of a stretch. Okay, so try to square the hips, uncurl the back toes. Try not to dump off to the side. Stay lifted or bring forearms onto blocks or onto the ground. If you can bring your forehead onto something, that might feel nice. Close your eyes. And again, nice deep breaths, letting the exhales get longer and longer. Good. And then slowly make your way up and back to your final downward facing dog. Start to walk it out a little bit. Again, shifting the hips from side to side. Good. And come down to the hands and knees and swing your feet around. Extend your left leg out and have your right foot bent, your right knee bent in. If this makes you round your back, you can either sit up on a yoga block, a bolster, or grab a cushion from a chair or a couch, something like that. But what you really want to do is sit right on top of the sitting bones. So if you don't have any of those things to grab, you can always bend the bottom knee a little bit, and that'll help you to tilt your pelvis so you can sit right on top of the sitting bones. Okay, now bring your right hand behind you and just take one little mini step back with your right booty, okay, with your right glute. Step it back a little bit. Your right knee's pointing straight up. On your inhale, sit up tall, and on your exhale, twist to your right. So you can just hold on to the knee. You can coat hang it, they call, so you just kind of wrap your elbow around. So here we're focusing on twisting from the mid and upper back. On your inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. You can just turn your head back to where it feels good for you. Deep breaths, again, letting the exhale get longer and longer. Very good. Now let's go to the other side. So switch it out, right leg out, left leg in. Again, take one little step back with your left booty. Inhale, sit up really tall. Keep your right foot active, so pushing into the heel and the ball of the foot. Exhale, twist to your left. So just coat hanging your knee. On your inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist from the mid and upper back. Very good. And then come to center. Now lay all the way down onto your back and bring your knees in toward your chest. Just rock a little bit from side to side here, massaging the spine. And then extend your legs up towards the sky and have your arms by your sides. Now, keep your knees bent. We're not really trying to use any abs here, okay? So you're just using gravity a little bit to do an inversion. So letting the blood just kind of come down from the legs a little bit and really coming into the lungs and the other organs and the torso and to the heart. Close your eyes. Take a couple breaths here. Good, and then squeeze your knees in towards your chest, maybe even bring your head up towards your knees if that feels good. Bring your feet down to the ground, extend your legs out, bring your arms overhead for a full body stretch. And then bring your arms down by your sides. Have your hands a little bit wider than the mat. Bring your feet about as wide as the mat and let the feet fall out to the sides. Close your eyes. Take a couple cleansing breaths here. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Good, and then you can just breathe in and out through the nose. Moving through the body, let your body completely relax and release, letting go of any tension, any tightness, any wrinkles in the skin, let it go. Let the ground carry your body weight. Enjoy these last few moments here in Savasana, letting yourself drift off to that place right before you fall asleep. And start to deepen your breath. Bring some movement back into the fingers and toes. If it would feel good, you could do another full body stretch. And then start to bend your knees, placing your feet on the floor. Roll onto your right hand side, using your right arm for a pillow. And with the strength of your arms, slowly push yourself up to seated. Let your head be the last thing to come up. Just come to an easy cross-legged pose if that feels okay for you. Pull the flesh away from the sitting bones so that you can feel the sitting bones rooting down into the mat. Get as neutral of a pelvis as you can. Lift your rib cage away from the pelvis. Relax the shoulders, chin parallel to the ground. And have the palms open on the knees. Come back to your affirmation for a few more rounds of breath here. Deep breaths. Good, and then just start to notice how you're feeling now at the end of your practice. And circle your hands together in front of your heart into prayer. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just bow your head down. Bring your thumbs from your heart center up to your third eye. Your forehead, acknowledging the energy that's within you, around you, connects us all together and never goes away. That energy within me acknowledges the energy within you, and I thank you so very much for letting me guide you through your practice today. Namaste.